Okay.
So the Montreal screw job. Talk to me about that. Did you know the day before? Did you know about that ECW line that they did? And they announced that Brett was gonna lose the belt. Did you see that?
No, I had no idea about that because I didn't call the ECW hotline then. Even though
No,
back then
it
I
was
was
in a it was a wrestling show the day before the Montreal Screw Job. So the wrestling show in ECW had something in the bottom that said Bret Hart's gonna lose the title. Call this number to ask to talk about it. So that's what I was asking. If you seen that ECW event the day so the day of the Montreal Screw Job, I already know he was gonna lose, but I said in my mind, I'm like, he's gonna lose. That's impossible. No, it can't happen. He's in Montreal. He's not gonna let that happen. You know, like I was just so I didn't know what to think when I seen that, but they had already said that he was gonna lose the day before in the ECW hotline. I didn't call the hotline, but they said it on live TV. Bret Hart's gonna lose the belt. Call this hotline, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying?
I think we gotta blame Stevie Richards for that because he used to change his voice and do the ECW hotline. So
I don't know who did it. So, what are your thoughts on that? What happened with Brett and Sean? I mean, I I had different thoughts then than I have now about it. I'll say mine after you say yours. Go ahead.
yeah, like you mentioned, different thoughts then, different thoughts now. I think throughout all the
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
I keep changing how I feel, who is right, who is wrong. But now the way, hey, as a wrestling fan, that's how we are. The way I
Yeah.
look at it is when it's time to pass the torch, you should pass the torch. Not, oh, I want to just give it up tomorrow. Boom. I want to give it up the next day. I want to give up the next day and forfeit it. When you're leaving, you do the job, you pass the belt over to whoever it is, whether you like them or not, and you go, yes, it was the wrong way of doing things and it was the worst way of doing things, but it had to be done for the business because nobody, including Bret Hart, is above the business. No matter how much obsessed he is with the belt, with the wrestling business, like we are obsessed with the wrestling business, no one is above the business. And it
What were
was
your
the right
thoughts
thing to
then
do because,
when it happened?
I mean, it was hard to comprehend. It's like, whoa, okay. It's like, we really don't know what's
Did you
going
like
on.
it? Did you
It's
get
like,
mad? Did you get mad? You didn't like. Did you like it? Did you
not,
get angry? How did
well,
you feel?
not really because, Sean won the belt. So I was
I was
happy with that.
pissed. I was pissed. I'm a big Bret Hart. I like Bret
Yeah.
more, so I was pissed. I was pissed, bro. You don't know. I was like, what the? But now I understand it more. Now I understand it more, and the way they put it. I can understand where they came from and why they did it. Now I understand more what happened. Being older. But at the time, I was pissed, man. I was like, fuck, man. You
It was
know.
the real deal. Yeah. First time seeing it on camera
Yeah,
where
man.
everything's real is
Yeah, that
happening.
was that was yeah, that was one of those moments too, man. That day, that was another match. That was one of those moments. Did you ever think he was gonna come back?
The thing is, at the time, we as wrestling fans, we don't think they're gonna come back, and that's it because of what they say and how bad
At
they were
that time,
burned.
yeah.
But look at it this way: look who came back. Sable came back. CM Punk came back. Uh, who are these other guys that said they were? Oh, you got it. Bruno. Bruno came back. The Warrior came back. Even Hogan came back. They all come back after some time, except Vince McMahon.
Triple
That's
H
the only
made
one.
that happen. Triple H makes that happen now. He fixes those relationships, bro.
He absolutely
Triple H is
does
the
and
man.
did. He did. He made
Yeah.
every all with the Bruno, with the Warrior. They'll all come back eventually.
How
Savage even
about
came back
that
for
match
the
with
action
Vince?
figure.
How about that
Terrible.
match with Vince? How did you like that?
It was
Yeah, man.
is
Oh man.
here's the thing. It was
That
decades too late, way too late. Not only that, look, he had the concussion, so he couldn't take any bumps. So it's just offense here and there and slow offense. And you're putting it on the WrestleMania. It looked weak. It looked bad. It was meant for the time, and he wasn't even in his Bret Hart attire, and he couldn't even take a
Exactly.
bump. Whether it was a
I
win
agree
or
in everything.
loss, oh, terrible. And it hurt me
I agree
as
in
a Bret
everything.
Hart fan. As a Bret Hart fan, that hurt me. Don't do this now. You should have done this 10, 15 years ago when it could have happened.
It's funny you mentioned the attire because that was one of the things that I was like, damn, I wanted to see him in his, you know, that was one of the simple things that I wanted to see, man. You know, and I didn't even get that. And I agree totally. Everything you say, you put it perfect, bro. I could have not put it no better, bro. So I ain't even gonna say nothing about that. So what are your thoughts on that Kevin Owens Stone Cold match that they just had?
It was nice. It's nice to have him. You know, Steve Austin, one of the greatest of all time, loves the business. Hey, this guy Kevin Owens, he's got something. Let's put a match together. I'll do this for him, and it was awesome. I was glad that Steve did that just for him.
I've been watching Kevin Owens since the ROH days, bro. I met him. I got a picture with him. Yeah, I met him, and I
Kevin
always
Steen.
said this guy's he's special, bro. I said this guy's a monster. He's an animal. You know. Only thing I didn't like about the match, Stone Cold again did not have his attire, so I wasn't happy with that. You know, the match itself, I say it was so. It could have been better. It was good to see Steve back though. It was good to see him do his thing and have the fans go crazy for him. I think they could have did a little better with it though. You know,
Absolutely.
I would have loved to see him in his, because he's in good shape still. I would have loved to see him in his, wrestling gear because he looks good. You know.
Yeah, it's not like
Bret, I can understand.
for 6'8". Brett, obviously, he's limited,
Bret,
but Steve is still healthy. He looks good. Whatever his age he is, 60 years old, whatever it is, you know?
What were your thoughts on that Rock match, that tag team match that he had? That last match.
I think it was the way they did it. They listened to the fans, turned him heel.
How do you think he looked?
They would have had it.
How do you think he looked in the match, The Rock, personally?
He looked great. The entire match looked great. I thought everybody all around looked great, and they turned him heel. He stayed heel. It was perfect. It was just the right thing to do.
So I watched that match, and I just, only thing that I seen wrong with The Rock in that match, I thought he was a little stiff. Stiff meaning the way he moved. He didn't move like before, bro. That's the only thing that I seen that I didn't like. I said, he's not moving how he used to do. He's too big, I think. I think he's way too big and he don't move the same no more. And plus he's older now. I think all of that took a toll on the way he moves. I thought he looked real stiff, but the match itself, everything was good. I liked the match and everything that happened. I just thought The Rock didn't look like how he used to look. He was good. And he was just really, really stiff to me,
Yeah, that's a fair statement. I mean, most casual fans, they won't notice things like that. And they'll be like, oh, it's just The Rock. He's wrestling. I'm happy. This is cool. But you have to remember, we've been watching him from 96 all the way on, and we see everything.
I noticed right away. I started tweeting it. As soon as I noticed, I'm like, he looks stiff,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this. See if you knew about it or what do you think about it? What about Vince almost bought the UFC back in the days when they was not owned by Dana White and them, right? You know about that, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And
imagine he would have bought. What are your thoughts on it? Imagine he would have bought it, bro.
I just don't think it would be successful. Whether it would be a merge or separate, it just didn't seem right at the time. What he would turn that into, I don't know.
He probably would have messed it up, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing I would think of is just make characters and storylines and this, and then I don't think it would have worked out.
He would have killed it. But I think Shane was the one that was really pressing for. You know, you look like Shane, bro. I want to tell you, the minute you got him, like you look like Shane, bro.
You know how many times I get that? Rob Van
Bro,
Dam
you
at
do.
WrestleMania, backstage at WrestleMania. I went back there, and this is when I had the with the grays shaved off, so the grays weren't even there. It's just he goes, "Holy shit, Shane McMahon!" When I was looking up, so I've gotten that before quite a few times. I might as
Yeah,
well
bro, it's
be
true.
A Manny McMahon.
The minute you got on, I'm like, damn, this dude looks like Shane. So you think they made the right decision by changing that match? You know it was supposed to be the Rock and Roman, and the fans made that happen. How do you
And you
feel
know what?
about that? How do you feel about the way? How do you feel about the way they changed the match just for, you know, online, Twitter and you know, and they switched everything. That wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Roman Reigns and The Rock since last year. The Rock couldn't do it last year, so they made it this year, and then they switched it because of what happened. I'm I have two different train of thoughts on that. I'll tell you mine. Go ahead. I want to hear yours first.
I think it'll eventually happen, but it was the right time. They were listening to the fans, and back in the day, maybe not back in the day, but 5-10 years ago, it would take a lot to actually for them to listen to the fans, and now they actually did, and that's what the fans wanted, and that's what the WWE did and delivered for them. So it was all good.
You think it was the right decision?
I, I, if you would have put that match together, I don't know how the fans would have reacted. I'm sure it would have been good, but you never know.
So
I can't say
I
strongly
think it was
one
the
way
right
or the
decision.
other.
So I think it was the right decision to give Cody the belt because he deserves it. Ever since I seen Cody start, I said this guy's gonna be a star. I did that with The Rock. I did it with a couple of wrestlers before they even started. I seen him. I said he's gonna be a star. So for that reason, I'm glad they did it. Not because the fans changed it. All right,
Sure.
because if it was like that, okay, you're giving the fans what they want, which is fine, but the fans don't write WWE. They don't know how to write WWE, So I kind of look at it in that sense too. Like you should have not listened to them, you know. Aside
They're
from the
not the
fact that,
writers. They don't
at
have
the
the background. Yep.
exactly. Aside from the fact that at the same time, I think Cody should it's good he got it, It's good he got it, I don't disagree with the decision. I disagree with them agreeing with the fans and letting them write a script in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
I mean, if it was like that, then you give them everything they want. I mean, you're gonna give them, like it don't work that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Can you
So,
imagine if they gave Cody the
those,
belt right away last year? It's like it would have been waste. It's like the story would have been finished too early. Let it wait out. Let it draw out, and hey, we'll give you what you want.
yeah. So those are just my thoughts on that. It was just like I'm kind of debating. I'm up in the air on that one. I'm glad Cody won because I wanted him to have the belt. I wanted him to win the belt. But then again, I don't think they should have just, you're making it obvious. What happened to kayfabe? I mean, the fans don't make the decisions. You're supposed to trick them, not give them what they want. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I look at it too. You
Yes,
know?
suspense, swerve, everything around it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But it was good. It was good. Like I said, I wanted him to win. He deserved it. And I love him. He's good. He's real good. You know. How ironic it is that the UFC end up buying WWE. How about that? What do you think about that?
It's pretty amazing. I mean, listen, with any business, you got to expand. You got to explore all your opportunities. You got Netflix coming up. got all this talent on the other side. Hey, we can make this happen. Now we have people that are running the business that actually are opening up and, being able to expand and go, wow, we can work with something like this. We got Netflix here. We got all this talent at UFC here. We can do this merge here, this, that, interaction. Hey, it's beautiful.
Do you do indie shows? You ever go to indie shows? Watch indie shows? You ever been to any?
A couple times. Not
Yeah.
not something I would normally do, but a few times I've been there. All my friends that go to there, I always support them. Like, thank you for supporting the Indies. That's what makes it happen.
Yeah, I like the indies. You know why? Because especially if you got a big name that's just left WWE or something, you go in the show and you go right up to them. You talk to them and you meet them, and that's what I love about it. I like indie shows now more than there because you don't do. You go, you sit down in your chair, and you know you don't do nothing. But in an indie show, man, you run around all around there meeting all the wrestlers, and it's cool, bro. Especially they be having the meet and greets right there. So you like right in front of them and they all right there. One day I did a show and I was selling DVDs, from when I was doing the YouTube thing. And I had The Rock's father sitting right next to me and I had a little table, you know? So things like that is what I think is so amazing about the indie shows that, you meet the guys. Yeah, it's cool,
It's,
bro. You
it's
could
more
talk to
personal.
them, you
Like,
shake their hand. Yeah,
and the thing is, like
yeah.
you mentioned, with the indie shows, they're more personable. Yes, like the indie shows that I went to or I worked with, I had guys like we had guys like Justin Credible and Jason Knight and Sabu in our main event. Balls Mahoney, Jake Roberts. They would go back out and they would go ahead and smoke weed with you. That's how personal it was with those indie shows.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. So I was just back to the UFC question, buying the I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. Like, but I think they're doing an amazing job, man, to be honest. Especially with Triple H. Their Triple H is getting, we got a wrestling boom right now. It's going good and it's fun again. For years, all I had people tell me was, yeah, I used to watch it back in the days, but now it's, yeah, like, and I felt the same way, you know, and now I'm like, yes, baby, it's getting good again. Yeah, man.
It's like the people that are telling you that at a certain time, like, no, what is this guy talking about? But then you also feel that maybe years later, like, oh wow, I feel that some way too. It's like, it's kind of gone away. I've lost a little interest, but it happens to the best, to all of us, basically, no matter how much you love the business.
Yeah. Like I said, I felt the same way, man. Like, I was just watching on YouTube. I just go to the clips that they put out to see the main thing that happened. That it was getting basically to that point that I wouldn't even watch the show and just go to YouTube and bring up a clip of what happened at the end or any special moment that happened, just to check it out or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you felt the same way about it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. So did you meet Vince?
I only met Vince prior to anything with the current call and everything like that. It was casual, nothing, no conversations, no no invites to his house, no getting thrown into his pool, nothing like that.
But
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 overall,
you,
good
you
experience.
when you say casual, you meant when you did the interviews and stuff?
Yes, and that was in like 2015, 14. I forgot, somewhere around that time.
How was that? How was that? How was that? Talk a
It
little
was
bit
cool
about that.
because it was the first time that I actually met those guys pretty much all at once. Whether it was Hunter, most of my dealings with anything I did with WWE from 2014 to 2022 was I dealt with Hunter, I dealt with Scott Hall, and I dealt with one, two, three or four different producers that worked in WWE. So the first meeting was, I met everybody pretty much all at once, and that was for the Click arrest video where they would arrest us for the video.
Yeah.
I mean, but before that was the Click Rules DVD which initially got me to the dance. Was that video? Was the Click Rules DVD they wanted me on? So that was pretty crazy. So it was a fun experience.
So you mentioned Scott. Well, how he was involved? How did that? What? How did how was he involved in getting in touch with you and stuff like that?
With Scott Hall, it was something interesting with him because I didn't think he would be so involved in either the current call or anything we've done, but he was very interested. He wasn't really interested in the current call itself. He was interested in one of the best matches he said he had was with Hunter Hearst Helmsley that same night, and he kept bringing that up, and then he told me he wanted a tape of it, so I made a copy of the tape, and he said it was one of his favorite matches with Hunter, and he loved it. And then from there, it was his idea for us to meet Triple H, Sean Waltman, and himself, and have us arrested. That was his idea. Otherwise, it would have just been like a meeting and caught on camera for whatever it was going to be. But Scott Hall made all that happen as far as us getting arrested, that whole segment. He brought it up to Triple H. Triple H said, cool, let's do it. And it happened.
So who was the first one that reached out to you?
Here's the thing with the WWE. I think it was like 2014. They put a thing. Oh, it's an anniversary of the curtain call, and the way the curtain call actually leaked out upset me so much that I wanted nothing to do with the WWF or WWE. I stayed away from it. I didn't comment on it, and my buddy which filmed the shows with me, Jason.
You recorded the whole show?
He was.
I'm sorry. You recorded the whole show?
That for that night. He got
the curtain call. You recorded that whole show?
He got we got 7 out of like 9 matches. I think we left out the Bushwhackers match that was in the beginning or in the one.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought you just had that part.
But it's crazy. I will actually get into that show because it's like a insane pay-per-view type show. But the way with the way the tape got out is through a dirt sheet writer. I gave him a copy, and he put it out, and I had no idea it was going to be aired like the next day on Monday Night Raw, which was mind-boggling to me because I trusted this guy, and so I didn't want anything to do with WWE at the time. So even when they tried to contact Jason,
why?
Because I guess the fact that it was already out there. I didn't want anything to do with it. It was someone already put it out. Someone stole the tape basically and put it out. It's like, what's the point? It's like I wish it would have happened much earlier. I wish it would have happened much earlier. But then Jason said, "Hey, W wants to reach out to you," and I gave him my number, and they called me.
So the guy that put out the tape is not the guy you gave it to.
The guy that put out the tape is the one that I gave it to, thinking he was going to be a good friend. He gave out to a dirt sheet writer.
Oh, okay.
Dirt sheet writer was great friends with Shawn Michaels. Gave it to Shawn Michaels, and then that's why it took a year for it to be shown on big screen on Monday Night Raw with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So basically, I was screwed out of that. So I want to distance myself.
It sounded like a third party dude put it out there. That's why I asked that. The way you put it right now.
Yeah. So just imagine as a 17-year-old kid, you're watching Raw, and here's your footage on the big screen.
I can't believe you didn't want nothing to do with it. I would have been like, what? I can't believe you felt like, I'm like, why?
at the moment, I was like, you know what? No, no, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
That's me. That's me. That's me. No. So then
yeah,
eventually I
yeah,
gave
yeah.
in, and then they called me. Hey, we're doing a Click DVD. We've been looking for you guys for a while. I'm like, all right, and I came into WD Studios late 2014 for the first time, and it's been a blast since. It's been amazing.
What are your thoughts on what's going on with Vince, man, and all this shit, man? I kind of anyway. Go ahead, man. I want to hear what you got to say, man.
It's crazy now. People are starting to talk about it now. People in the business, and I was silent for about it for a while. But the thing is, it's so wild. It's something you can't comprehend. It's like, whew, and you read everything that's been going on. And the thing that really threw me off is the fact that Vince can't even type, or his text message sounded like a 12-year-old texting, misspelling capital letters of
I didn't watch.
profanity
I
and this
didn't
and
see
that.
the text.
Ooh,
I haven't
it
seen
was
none of
so
that.
bad. It was so bad that you would think that this billionaire businessman would actually change his way of talking to feel younger, to talk to this 20 something or
you
30
know,
something year old. And
it's put out there that he don't write well because they say he was dyslexic or something like that. Yeah, so they say he don't write well and he misspells a lot. So it makes sense that you say what you're saying right now. You know what I'm saying? Getting back
yeah,
to
so
what we're gonna come back to this. I'm gonna come back to this. Getting back to Vince. So how was that like? We started talking about Scott. We never got into that. How was that like meeting him and what stands out about him to you?
nothing crazy stands out. Is usually just a few words here and there. Hey, nice to meet you. This that, and then they're
Yeah.
backstage and you meet them. It was like a few words here
Okay.
and there. The most words I've had with anybody in WWE was with Hunter and Scott, and also the producers. Those are the ones that always kept bringing me back, or doing with the Ringer, with the Click Rules, the YouTube skit, and also the WWE A&E stuff that we've been doing the last couple of years.
Yeah. Basically you all right, did you get that like they say he's intimidating. I know you probably heard that a lot. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah?
his presence is like woo.
Yeah?
And the thing is, it was
Huh?
hard to take in because remember when you're getting put backstage first without knowing what you're doing. The camera's already on you, and then to the side, they're not even on camera. We're the ones going on camera, and you see them all in the corner. You got Hunter, you got Scott Hall, you got Vince, Bruce, and
Yeah.
all those other guys there. So they're already there. You're like, what the hell's going on? And then the camera's already on you, so you got to just boom and go, whether they're there watching you or not. And then that's
Yeah.
how it happened.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because a lot of wrestlers say, "Oh, he's very intimidating and blah blah blah." So I'm like, I know you're not a wrestler, so they look at him a certain way. We don't look at him that way. See, I don't
No,
think he would intimidate me. So that's why I'm thinking, is it really like that? Did you really feel that way? You saying yes? So okay,
you definitely feel something in his presence. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. You can't deny that.
okay. Um, I'm gonna skip that scandal stuff. You said a little bit about that already. I don't really want to get too much into that. I really don't care much about that. Um, Tell me a little bit about what you remember during the day. Let's get into the good stuff. The why I started this video. I started this video for the curtain call, so we're gonna get into the curtain call questions now. I want you to tell me a little bit about that day. What you remember leading up to going to the event that day? Because honestly, I don't remember much. All I really could remember, I see. In the event before that, Bret Hart wrestled. Bret Hart and Undertaker had a tag match against Diesel and Shawn Michaels. That match, if you remember, they showed it on Raw, and Diesel hit Shawn Michaels in the back. He turned on him that day. He hit him in the back. It was an untelevised match at Madison Square Garden. I was also there. That was the event right before the curtain call. So Diesel turned on Shawn Michaels. It was Diesel and Shawn Michaels against Undertaker and Bret Hart. Diesel turned on him. That's what led up to the cage match that they had that day in the curtain call. So I remember that, you know, and it's kind of like a dream to me, the curtain call itself. You know what I'm saying? So what do you remember of that day leading up to the day that you went to the event? The time that you got to the event.
It was just like a normal day for me and Jason. We would, you know, bring our cameras with us. I wouldn't say we were paranoid or anything, but we were
It was just
prepared.
you and him?
It,
No
just
parents?
me and him. That's it.
Yeah.
Just us. We
Damn,
go in there to
two
the
young
garden.
16 underage kids. That's crazy.
Yes, going to the garden, taking the train, going to the garden, going to the Coliseum. But for that night, doing our usual thing, bring our cameras, bring the bag. We were prepared. We weren't worried about getting caught. The reason why we weren't worried about getting caught because we had it all planned out. Like what we're doing is legal. We would go up to the security. If the security would ask us, "Hey, what's in the bag?" which happened a couple of times, all we would say is, "Oh, it's just a camera," and then they would say, "Okay, go by." They didn't really care because of the fact that we were so open and we showed them, "Hey, it's just a camera," and they would probably thinking, "Why would these kids want to sneak in a camcorder to a stupid house show anyway?" So
Yeah.
they would always let us through. There was never one time that we weren't allowed through the garden or the Coliseum with a camera. So we did that
Did you
maybe
ever go to
seven,
any
eight
events?
times.
Did you go to any events ever before that?
Yeah, my first event was SummerSlam '88,
Oh, okay.
and many times in
All right.
you know.
Did you know that they were did you know that that was their last match? Because I knew. I knew they were leaving.
Yeah,
I knew that was their last match. Did you know?
it's great. It's crazy. Yeah, because I knew months
So
before.
you
I
did
knew in
know.
January. I knew in January
Did
because
you know that that was their last match though?
absolutely because
Yeah, I knew
how
it too.
how Howard Finker actually gave that away on a show that he used to update shows on when this show was coming to this area, this show was coming to there, and he blurted out that, "Hey, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are leaving for WCW," and it was just out of nowhere. It had nothing relevant to his hotline that he updated every day, but he gave that away, and it wasn't even dirt sheet hotline. It wasn't like a scoop or anything. But for him to say that, and I called it again just to make sure, and he gave that away months before. So I knew in January, that's like months before. I'm like, whoa, that mind blew me because nobody would call Howard Finkel's hotline just to see what shows are coming to what area. And it was amazing when I found that out. And he called them
You
by
know,
their
I
real
didn't
names,
have
which
to.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't have to it's like you heard the rumblings. You heard the rumors. I never had to call no hotline to find out anything that was gonna happen or nothing like that. You would just hear it somewhere or another. And I forgot how I heard it, but I knew. I knew. And I never called nowhere to hear nothing, you know?
uh-huh. Oh yeah, especially in New
Did you
York,
know that they
people
were
talk.
did you know that they were best friends? That the clique were best friends? I knew that as well.
And the thing is, with the click, I didn't know. All I knew, look, I had a very popular wrestling hotline back in the '90s, and I didn't even know that they were that close of friends, especially with Hunter. All you see that is on camera. I mean, I had a hotline that I had to update every day, and I didn't know that. I didn't know they were close friends.
So I knew already, and that day confirmed it for me. Basically said, okay, it's true. You know what I'm saying? For what we went through, what we're gonna talk about later, you know. But yeah, I knew that already. I knew there was it was X Pac, Triple H, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, and Just Incredible. He's part of the clique. If you didn't know that,
I did.
You
I
knew that?
talked to Justin. I talked to Justin Credible one time, and I asked him if he was part of the clique. His answer was, "If they thought I was part of the clique, then I was. If not, then that's okay." That's the answer he gave me
He
when I
was.
asked him that.
He
Yeah,
was. Sean, they said it. They said it before. I heard one of them say he wasn't, but he was. He was one of them. I interviewed him as well. Just
yeah.
incredible.
PJ's a great guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a cool guy, man. Real cool guy, real good dude, real respect, very
Down to earth.
respectful, you know. Yeah, very
Absolutely.
respectful. How did you feel when you seen Scott when it was like you sold out, and he's pointing in the back saying, "Tell him to pay me, tell him to pay." And the fans, I was looking right at the fans, and it was in his face pointing at him, and he's talking to the fans from the ring, making the money sign with his hands, right? He was going like this, right? And he's pointing to the back and going like this, and the fans are, "You sold out, you sold out." How did you feel? Because I was just like, man, I was looking like. I felt so bad in a sense, and in another sense, I'm like, I was just like, fuck, why are they leaving? Like I don't. How do you feel about that, man?
That was a great feeling getting that from the crowd, especially the Scott Hall. You sold out section that we
It
started.
was the
We
front
sold
row.
out and just boom, and the front row, and then it just exploded all around. And the thing is, it's like, wow, we're actually getting to see this, that they're doing this in the WWF for the first time. A good guy is getting chanted something like this. Meanwhile, they incorporated that from ECW when all those guys would want to leave, and they would bash them. And here we are. Now we can put it to you, and like Scott Hall's getting the treatment now. It was awesome. I thought it was great.
Check this out. I'm gonna prove to you right now that I was there. Do you remember when Triple H grabbed him and threw him outside the ring? Then he grabbed the mic. He
Right.
said, "This is your one-way ticket out of here."
But
Remember?
cut.
Remember?
Yep. And
He
then
said,
they
"This is
cut.
your
And then
one-way
when
ticket
Scott
out of
does
here." Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was
wow.
crazy. When he did that, I was like, damn, they leaving. They really leaving, man. Damn. You know? You remember that when he said, "This is your one-way ticket out of here"?
That part I don't remember. No.
You don't remember that? Watch the
No,
tape.
no.
It should got to be on your tape. You got the
It
Triple
must
H
be on
Scott
our
Hall
tape.
match that day?
Yeah, we
You
got
got it?
everything except this.
Watch
You
that
sold
tape
out.
again. You're going to see it. Watch that part. You're gonna see that part. If you got that match, you're gonna see that part. It was outside the ring. He threw him into the steps, banged him into the step. He grabbed the mic. Said, "This is your one-way trip out of here." That was
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
We didn't get the "you sold out" chant at the end because Jason cut off the camera because he wanted to save tape to make sure he got the whole event. So, which is the smartest thing he ever did. And I always ragged on him about why you cut the tape. That was the best part of the match. Meanwhile,
It was one,
later
yeah,
on,
man.
he was the one that had the
That was one of
idea.
those
Hey,
moments.
let me save my tape. I want to get the whole show. And we might have not even gotten the current call if he got the whole "you sold out" chant a couple minutes because
Yeah,
those tapes didn't last long, the batteries didn't last long, so he made the best decision.
yeah, that would have been nice to have them because they was like pointing at him. Remember, they was pointing at him, and he's going like this to them. You know, like, "Tell Vince, give me the money, I'll stay." And they like, "You sold." That shit was crazy, man. That was crazy, man. Yeah, man.
Only in the Garden,
So
because everywhere else it wouldn't have happened.
it probably would have not even been as special. Probably would have
No,
not
it wouldn't
felt
have
as
been
special
anything.
either, man.
No.
Yeah, man. So how about when you seen Sean kiss Diesel on the floor and then he just put his head up and they got up and started hugging? How did you I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Even though I knew, because kayfabe was already broken. I knew wrestling was fake. I knew everything already. I already knew everything. Well, not fake. Let me not say fake. I'm sorry, scripted. That slips out every now and then, But yeah, I already knew they would leave. It's funny because, you know, I knew all this stuff already, but yet I was still stunned and still surprised at the fact that he kissed him when he was on the floor after the match. You know?
Yeah, that was something. It's like, okay, we know they're leaving everything, but for him to do that, you got to remember is now, okay, Diesel is on the ground, he's getting kissed. Now he's from heel to babyface, and that's just one scenario you got there that's going on in the garden. Meanwhile, there's more to this story than just that spot. Like, hey, Diesel just turned and he's leaving tomorrow. It's like people don't look at it that he was just the bad guy, and now a second later he's a good guy. If that would have happened and that would have been it, people would remember that too.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't have been as special though. How about when you seen Triple H coming down? When I seen him, I was like, "Oh, they're gonna fuck him up." That was my first thought. They're gonna fuck him up, not thinking that I already know that he's part of the clique. You understand? This is how gullible I was back then. You know, being a wrestling fan and kayfabe wasn't totally out there yet, so I still had that little bit of kayfabe in me. Like they're gonna fuck him up. Then he gets in the ring. They all fucking tap, hug, and then how did you feel when you first seen him coming down? Did you feel like I felt?
I guess after 40, almost 40 years as a wrestling fan, that is the most craziest and most exciting and most mind-blowing thing I've ever experienced in my life as a wrestling fan. And I was so happy to not only witness it there, but to capture it. I'll never forget that moment when he came out, because I had to question myself, is that really Hunter when you're looking at him come down? Because that's how messed up you are in the head as a wrestling fan, that you're so into the kayfabe and this, that, because it came out of nowhere. You know, there was no storyline leading to it. There's nothing connected to it. It just came out. It's like, you asked, is that Hunter? The greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, for sure.
So you didn't think they were gonna beat his ass like I did?
No.
No. Yeah, that was my first thought. I said they're gonna fuck him up. That was my first thought. And then I see them, and then they hit me. I'm like, wait, they're best friends. I forget. You know, it's like I'm just so into the wrestling storylines and stuff like that at that time that it was like, I don't know, it just slipped my mind. I don't know, being gullible, whatever, man, you know. But it was just my first thought was they're gonna beat his ass. Then he comes in and fucking gives up the Wolfpack sign and hugs, and I'm just like, my eyes wide, you know, like what the hell, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely an experience to be there. It's like, and you think about it, it's like, oh, wait a second. Why did the WWE cameras turn off? They should have just kept rolling. But hey, they thought it was the end of the show, and obviously we didn't. We just kept recording.
Yeah, who was last to come out? Triple H?
Yeah.
Or Scott?
Then,
Triple H was last,
Scott,
right?
Yeah, Triple H was last, and then the 4 hug and everything.
Yeah.
And
Scott was already
after
in
a
the
few
ring.
minutes.
So how did you feel when you seen that? When you seen him get in the ring and that's when it started. That's when everything started. That was that moment where you started like, what the hell's going on here? You know?
And the thing
so how was
the thing
that?
is with that, it was when you look around, the fans weren't confused, like Jim Cornette says. The fans were happy to see that. It was something new, something different, something breaking, and the crowd erupted because of what was happening. And Jim Cornette says they were confused. You look at the tape, you look at how I was screaming like a little girl, you look at all the people around me, the whole garden, that's not confused. They loved what they saw.
So how was that feeling when you seen that? What was that like, man?
You really can't describe it. I wish I could go back and relive it, but there's never going to be an event that I've had that kind of experience, because it had a pay-per-view feel to it. Like I was saying early on, you have to remember, it was the night the Ultimate Warrior returned to Madison Square Garden. It was the night that the Ultimate Warrior fought Owen Hart and broke his arm. That's why he would always wear that cast weeks later. Yeah. It was the night the tag team titles changed legit. No reversal, no false this, that, no referee come. The Godwins won the title from the Body Dons, and it was done as at a house show, and it was no reversal. You had Jake the Snake Roberts return to Madison Square Garden against a young ringmaster Steve Austin. The card was packed. It was that good. It had the pay-per-view feel to it. It was that good.
You remember when Shawn Michaels came out? He came out, he got on the cage, he got on the top and started dancing on top. You remember?
Dancing on top. And, saying, New York City, Madison Square Garden, the Click loves each and every one of you. And then we pan to the crowd with the camera showing everybody that, in the first legit sellout at Madison Square Garden for the last maybe 5 or 6 years was that night, because they promoted that cage match, and it was a real deal.
Yeah, I heard you mention in the I think that's the best way to describe it, man. You mentioned it in the video, and it was funny you said that. You said it was magic. Those were your words. It was magical. It was magic. And I swear to you, when I was telling this story, I said it the same exact way. I said it was just magic. You can't explain it. And then when you said that, I literally went and got the person and put them in front of the TV and was like, look what I told you. Didn't I tell you this? He used the exact same words that I used. You used the exact same words that I used. It was magic, bro. That's the only way you could explain it, bro. That day was magical. It was a feeling that you cannot explain. And that's why I used to bring it up so much in these interviews for the fans, for you to understand. It's a feeling that you would never be able to understand unless you was there that day. That's why I always bring it up in the interviews. Y'all fans always ask me why I always brought it up. This is why I always brought it up. This is why I did this interview and wanted to, express what that was, because the way they used to get on and they were like, oh, is he always talking about that day? Why? Like, I don't know. They always have something to say. It's not all the fans, but so a lot of the wrestling fans are very negative, and especially the internet. They blast you, and they and it's like, I'm putting free material out there. I'm not charging y'all nothing. Y'all can watch it on YouTube, and y'all still blasting me, and I'm just talking, It was funny because they used to say, oh, I hate his voice and stuff like that. And it was like, bro, if you a man, how are you supposed to even like my voice? Like, why are you even looking at the video worried about how I sound? You understand what I'm saying? So that's a stupid thing that they would say, that it used to piss me off, and it this is why I stopped doing. This is actually my first interview back in maybe about 5 to 6 years, because I got so frustrated with that. I said, fuck that shit. I'm not doing that no more. I said, they don't appreciate what I'm doing, And then I later on, I regretted it, to be honest. I regretted it, because I said, you know what I should have did was ignore them. And what I did was I went online and I started responding to them, and that's where I messed up. I should have just left it alone, not even worry about them. I kept doing what I was doing, because I have over 30 million views on my channel, and when I stopped, and I got 3,000 over 3,000 followers, and when I stopped, everything just stopped. You understand? The videos I had, they still clicking on them, but since I stopped, it's like the people that were watching me don't want to watch it now, So I regret not continuing. I regret responding to them. I regret even listening to what they had to say, or their opinion or anything, like this, like I said, this is why I wanted to do this interview, man. So they can understand, what it was that day, why I bring it up. This is the one thing that they used to say that used to be like, you would never understand why I keep bringing it up, because you wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So this is the one thing I wanted to put out there, so they could see, you're wrong in a sense,
And it's funny you mentioned that. That's because the one thing that people used to rag me about on YouTube or whatever was, I would never respond to them, was my voice at the night. Oh, that's that annoying kid Mark. He sounds so annoying. Why does he sound? But then, I never responded. But after a while, that's what made it happen, and people embrace that. And now I get messages from all different types of people because of that voice that I would scream out, "Oh yeah, click," like a little kid, and that's what made it happen. It was the voice behind the video. That's why it's been using the Two Dudes with Attitudes clip and as the main focus of that DVD on Peacock Network is because that voice. Can you imagine if I didn't say anything throughout the video? It would just been the video of a shaky video and of just them hugging.
Yeah.
You had to have something with it, and I'm glad remember I was 16 at the time. What am I gonna say? You know, I have to go crazy. You know, as a kid. So I'm not gonna just say, "Oh, cool. What is this?" I can't do that. I have to be vocal, and I felt all that. All that was real.
Yeah.
It was not like, you know.
They have this meme. They have this meme on the internet. It's meme, whatever they call that shit. I don't know. Whatever. So it says the internet is undefeated, and then we'll have like some internet quote that be hilarious, and it's like the internet is undefeated, and it's in a sense it comes back to that. It's like the internet is the worst, bro. It's the worst, bro. The worst, bro. So I didn't know that back then, though. I was just getting into it. I was like so happy that I was meeting wrestlers, and and I'm just excited as I'm doing the interviews. I'm like, damn, I'm hanging with these guys, and I never would even imagine this. So this is where I'm coming from, and they like, look at this guy. Why he keeps interrupting them and blah, blah, and blah. And, I understand where they were coming from in a sense, because I did, realize that some of the things they used to say was true. Sometimes I used to butt in while one was talking, and, it taught me. I learned as I went on, but I didn't go to school for this. I got on it. I thought one day, you know what? I said, I'm going to come in the back door in the wrestling business. That's what I did. I went to an indie show. I had a card. I said, yo, I'll pay you to do an interview. And then it was a chain reaction from there. One met me. He thought I was cool. And from him, I met another. From him, I met another. From him, and that's how it was, So my train of thought when I started was, I'm going to come in the back door. That's how I said, I'm going to come in the back door, And I did it. So, and I did it, and it was working. And then I'm like so excited. I'm so excited, and it's out there because of my videos, and they see it and they're like, oh, this fucking Mark or whatever, what they got to say. And I took offense to that, man. I took offense to that when I should have not. I should have just ignored it, because I would have been making a lot of money on my YouTube right now if I would have continued from when I started. I started in I think it was 14 or 13, I'm not sure. And I did it for 1 year. In 1 year, I got 25 interviews. Honky Tonk Man, DDP, Kevin Nash, Just Incredible. Man, I don't even remember. Iron Sheik, Hurricane Helms. In 1 year, I got all them interviews, 25 interviews. You know what I'm saying? And I stopped. I did it for 1 year and stopped because of that. You know what I'm saying? And I totally regret it. I totally regret so much. But, you live and you learn, and it is what it is, I'm glad to have this one now, because this was one that I was very excited for, to be honest.
Awesome. Hey, you made your mark. You got all the talent on there. I mean.
Yeah, it was fun, man, especially hanging with Nash. I did him twice. 2 times I did Kevin Nash. We hung out all night. We was drinking together in the hotel, just doing the interview. Yo, I have a video there of me and Kevin Nash, right? Where I turned on the camera, and he didn't know the camera was on. He knows I got the video now because I told him. I said, but the camera wasn't the camera. He didn't know was on, and we was just having a conversation for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then you see me in that same video go, oh, hold up, let me start doing this interview, because I didn't ask not one of the questions that I had. For like a whole hour, we was just talking about wrestling, talking shit, talking Andre, just talking wrestling, And then when I realized, I'm like, yo, bro, hold up, let's get this interview started, Then I turned off the camera and turned it back on, And he didn't know I had it on, but then I told him afterwards, and he told me don't put it out. I never put it out. I have that though. Maybe one day, I'll put it out, but not yet. I'm gonna put it out one day though. One day I'll put it out there. Just a conversation with me and him, and wasn't even supposed to be recorded, bro. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
him twice. Imagine that hanging with him, 2 times in
yeah.
his hotel room, all night. I had him for like, bro. I paid him for an hour. He gave me
Of
three
course,
hours, bro.
even more than
Yeah, he
that.
gave me
Yeah,
3 hours
very,
because he talks a
very
lot.
generous.
His answers be long, and he takes long. So I try to tell him like, listen, um, I know I paid you for an hour, bro, but you're talking a lot and you're gonna make it go way over. He was like, "Ah, don't worry about it, man. Just like that, bro. I swear to God, bro." And both times, like 3 fucking hours straight, bro. Yeah, bro, that shit was amazing. I remember when I first walked in, right? He opened the door because I had met him already at another event that I went to. I invested in a show in Virginia with a indie promoter, and he was at the show. So I had met him and took a picture with him. So when he opened the door, he was like, "Oh, good to see you again." He remembered me. I was surprised he
Right.
remembered me. I'm like, "Oh, you remember?" So I just go in. I'm not thinking nothing. I go in, right? I go in and I'm taking my stuff out, setting up and shit. And he's standing right behind me, bro. I turn around, bro. I'm like, bro, you are fucking huge.
Ooh, yeah,
Yo, because he
that's
was
no
right
joke.
behind me. So I turned around. I'm like, bro, you are fucking huge, bro. He started laughing, yo. It was
Him,
funny, bro.
him,
It was
him,
funny.
and Scott Hall. They're huge. You look like
I never
whoa.
met
Yeah,
Scott, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I never met
whoa.
Scott, man. Yeah, I know he's big too.
Great guy.
But let me tell you, I knew Scott. I was watching Scott since he was in AWA. He had the tag team championship with Kurt Hennig in the AWA back in the days. I don't know if you know about
Gator,
the
Big Gator,
AWA.
Scott Hall. Of course. Yeah, Big
I don't
Gator,
remember
Scott
his
Hall. Yeah.
exact name, but I know they was calling him Scott Hall.
Yep.
They took it from who they took the belts from. They took the belts from uh I'm guessing if I can remember correctly, Pretty Boy Doug Summers and Playboy Buddy Rose. I
Okay.
think if
Yeah.
I'm correct, they took the belts from them.
Yeah,
Or probably
that's
lost
when.
them to them. It's vague. It's very vague. I'm not sure. I'm not positive. But
Yeah,
I know. I do know for
that's when
sure
Kurt.
they had a feud. That I know they had a feud.
Yeah.
Kurt Scott and Playboy Buddy Rose and Pretty Boy Doug Summers. Yeah. So yeah, I never got to meet him, man. I would have loved to meet him. And it's funny because I knew a girl that was actually very close to him, and me and the girl was very close, and I still never got to meet him, man. Because at that time he was having this issue, so he wasn't out there like that.
Very smart in the business. Very quick. Very. These comments just come out of random. These little quotes here. This little insults here and there. It's that cool to see him do that. Just these one-liners out of nowhere. Like oh, and it throws you back. You're like oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
He was that smart and he was
he,
very good in the business.
yeah, he's very quick with it, with his smart remarks too. Especially, you could tell he has dry humor.
Yeah.
Yo, so okay, back to the feeling that we got for that day. Um, those matches that we talked about that was special. Did they make you feel that way? Same way? Because it was kind of similar to me. I don't know if you the same, but like that's one of those days that I category it with that with those matches.
Well, nothing ever compares to that incident with the current call for me because I was there live in person. If anything came close to that, was seeing like Sid win the title from Shawn Michaels from Survivor Series at the Garden. I was in the front row, stuff like just random things like that, or seeing the Eliminators and
What?
was it
Oh my God! Somebody,
from
somebody can't
'96?
hear you. This has got to be crazy. You got to be fucking kidding me. They said they can't hear you for some reason, bro. And we've been going for the longest.
Yeah, we've been going for over an hour strong.
Oh my God, my luck. I should have checked that first.
Hopefully,
My
after
fucking luck,
the
bro.
recording,
Matter of fact, I have it recorded. Let's just continue because I have it recorded. I'm gonna check the recording. Don't worry about it. Hopefully with the recording, man. Damn, I can't believe this shit, yo. So how did they contact you?
WWE.
Yeah, how did that, like, who was the first one that contacted you? Scott?
No, it was one of the producers, Kieran from WWE, and I said, "Hey, we're doing a Click DVD." It took me a while to get back.
How did they get your info though?
Remember, Jason said through the WWE website, "That's our video," because they put an anniversary video out. Hey, that's our video. Jason put that out. I didn't put that out there because I didn't really care at the moment. And then Jason said, "Hey, they want us to be on the DVD. They're doing a Click DVD, and they want to
Yeah, you
contact you."
said
I'm
that.
like, "All
So
right,
they
just
got
give
you.
me my number."
So they got it through him. Through him. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
I
slipped,
wasn't putting
slipped
myself
by me.
out there. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So how did you feel when you got that call? How was that? How was that feeling like?
It was like it was weird because as a lifelong fan, you want to be in the business. Obviously, I couldn't make it as a wrestler because of my size, whatever. So I was like, oh, I got to make it some way, somehow. And when they finally called me, I was like, you know what? It's meant to be. Let me do this. And I wasn't in a rush to call them back when they called or anything like that. But I was working myself or working them, and then I called them back and we set up a date for the first DVD, which was awesome. Click rules. Yep. And you know what, Nestor? I thought that was a one-time deal. I was going to be a one-hit wonder with WWE, and that was it, just for that DVD. And then the next month, once after the DVD came out, then it was the skit with Triple H and Scott Hall, and then it was A&E, and then it was the Ringer show, and then it was A&E again. So, hey, I was happy with all that. It was awesome. I just thought it was going to be a one-hit wonder, but
No, I think you can make a career out of this, to be honest, man. I told you. This is why I told you about the YouTube thing. You laugh and you think I'm playing, bro. I'm serious, bro. I think you would get a huge following. I think you would get a huge following just because you did the A&E, you did the WWE, your story, the curtain call moment. I just think you would get a following, bro. That's just my opinion. I really think that. And you're a
that
cool
actually means
dude.
a
You're a
lot.
cool
But
dude too.
I try, and that means a lot coming from you. But I also feel like I'm not so far. I'm not that great of a talker, or I'm not involved in the modern era of wrestling right now, so I can't really put out anything that people would want to just grasp onto. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't know what's going on in the wrestling business nowadays, whether it's AEW or
Really?
it's WWE. Yeah, so it's not like I can do a weekly
Really?
show. Hey, this is what happened on Raw. This is what happened on AEW. This is what happened at GC Goldberg changed dress the GCW, and here's a set. No, I can't do it.
Yeah, back to the question about your favorite modern era. Did you give me that? I don't remember. Did you?
Yeah, I think I gave
Your
you
favorite modern
Roman
era wrestler?
Reigns. Roman
Oh yeah,
Reigns
yeah,
and
Roman. So I
Punk.
didn't
Yeah.
mention mines. I didn't mention mines.
Yes.
Brock, bro. Brock. I love him. He's the man to me. He legitimizes wrestling. For everybody that says it's fake, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He legitimizes it. That's why I love him, bro. I love Brock and Bobby
Exactly.
Lashley. I like Bobby too, because they legitimize it. You know what I mean? But Brock is my favorite. Right now, in this era, modern era, Brock is my favorite. And nobody on top of him right now. He's a beast and he will hurt any one of them. For me, the person on top should be the toughest person there, man. And especially if he got character like Brock.
Absolutely. And when he went into the UFC, it's like us WWE guys, got to show those guys, hey, we're the real deal. When he beat them for the titles, like, hey, this guy's legit. It's like you can't make fun of us anymore, you know? It's like he
Yeah,
just beat your
exactly.
world champion, Mark Coleman. It's that.
That's exactly why, man. That's exactly why. When he came back, I said he legitimized us again. Yes, that's the first thing I said. I said, beautiful. Now everybody knows that he could fight for real. You know, so they can't tell us it's fake. You know what I'm saying? Because he could fight.
Mhm.
You know. So how did it go in detail? Like the process of them picking you up and stuff like that. You get into the building. How did that work?
Well, the first meeting was, going to Stamford, Connecticut. You go through the gate, you say, who are you here to get the meeting? I'm shooting a DVD. You meet the producers. That all went fine. You meet all the talent backstage or wherever they are. You meet all the producers. You go through you got cubicles all over. You got rooms all over in Stamford, Connecticut. It's just like one room is like 20 different screens. One room is like 20 different. It's like you see a lot of these like nerds just working on SmackDown and working on Raw, NXT, and all that stuff. And
How did you
like, oh,
get
this
there
is
though?
cool. Yeah, I drove.
Oh, you
It
went
wasn't
personally.
far.
They didn't pick you up. They didn't send somebody to get you. None of that. That's what I thought.
No. It was only an
Okay.
hour away, so I said I'll drive, go there. That was the first meeting at Stanford. Everything went well. The second meeting was a little off because we didn't have any like passes to get in when we were going to meet Triple H and everything. We just had a certain time to go in. So we had our tickets to go in. That's covered, no problem. But you have to remember we had to wait online like everybody else. So we still got there early, and our meeting was like at 6:30 with Triple H, and we got there like 5:30. But we still had to wait to get in. And then when we got in, there was an issue with our tickets. The security was like, "Where'd you get these tickets?" It felt like a flashback or a rib was being pulled on us for some reason, like from back in the day. And this is before the rib even happened. And like, what is going on? So remember, the producers are calling us now. They're waiting for us. They have about an hour and a half left until Raw goes live on the air, and our tickets are suspicious. And where'd you get these tickets from? They had to move us from the security to go into the ticket booth, explain where we got our tickets, this, that. And the reason why that was an issue was because we were in the front row on the hard camera, but the problem was that was the night that Sting was returning. So a couple of seats and sections had to be taken off so it can be lowered down in Madison Square Garden in a box. So our seats were moved, and they didn't explain that to us until later. And then so we were pretty much late because Sting had to make that special return entrance at Madison Square Garden, and that was the night that Dudley's returned to. And but in that, it worked out fine. We had a good 30-minute conversation with Hunter Scott and Sean Waltman, and but in the video, it's just like a 4-minute, squeezed together of us getting arrested, kayfabe shoot. It was work shoot, but mostly shoot. So it was
No, explain
insane.
that.
It was
Explain that.
crazy.
You gotta get it. You gotta get into that. You gotta say how it happened, how you felt. I need all of that. Like, how did it happen? What did they tell you? Like, how did they approach you about? Oh, you're not supposed to do that, and blah blah blah. How? Explain all of that, and then the cops coming, and explain all of that.
Well, when we first got there, we met with the producers that we've been talking to, Kieran from WWE, and he brought us obviously backstage. Here we are. Once we finally got in, walking through backstage, and we don't know what to expect. We're just expecting, Hunter's going to meet you, and we're going to do some little thing here and there, and that was pretty much it. It was never like a skit, nothing going to be filmed, or I didn't know what was going to be filmed or what was not going to be filmed. So as soon as we get to backstage, well, maybe it was a few seconds before I saw this. I told Jason, "Hey, this camera's following us," which is weird because I wasn't expecting that. So the camera, I told him, I whispered him, I'm like, "Gee, just go with it, just go with it," and we go. But then when you actually go to where the raw back screen is, and you feel it, like you start sweating, and you don't know what's going on. So it's like I didn't prepare for this, and they start filming right there. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras all around, and you see Hunter, Scott Hall, Vince, and all the boys in the back, and they're focused on you. So you have to talk, knowing that they're already there. It's the first time you're meeting them, and it's like, oh, you're just explaining, hey, we just filmed this current call, this, that, and then they walk on stage. They didn't tell us we were going to get arrested. They didn't tell us we were going to do a video, and they come on and they arrest us, and
They
it was pretty
arrested
awesome
you, so
because
they really arrested you. So they
they brought the
cuffed
New
you.
York City, yeah, real cuffs, real New York City police that they hired, cuffed us, brought us back, and then after they arrested us, it was just weird. I'm like, oh, how am I going to get my car out of this storage after they arrested us? I mean, remember, it's the whole wrestling thing. You don't know if it's work, shoot, and even though obviously it's past this date where they can't do anything about it because it was done 20 years ago. So it's not like we can get in trouble for it, but still, you have that in the mind. And then when they brought us back, if you actually look at the video, they lost the key to where my handcuffs were. So I had to do the interview with my hands behind my back for most of the time until they found it. Let's talk like this to Scott Hall and Sean Long, not just for the
Wow.
interview, but also during our whole conversation until they finally found that they found the key, and it was awesome. And that was Scott Hall's idea to get us arrested just for shooting that, which was awesome. It was that experience was incredible.
So how was it like to meet Triple H, man? He's the man, man. I love Triple H, man. Especially what he's doing with WWE right now, man. He's awesome. He holds no grudges. He's doing, business. It's business, bro. You know?
And you know what? Yeah, he's doing the right thing for the business, and I'm so happy for him. Same thing with Sean with NXT, and Hunter's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the business, and down to earth. Not a bad thing to say about him. So cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they speak. Even Kevin Nash and all of them, they speak highly of him. He never drank, never smoked, never did nothing. Yeah, man. He seems like he's doing really good for the business, man. You would have never expected that, right? Because I would
No,
have never
I
expected it.
never did, because back in the day, I used to like the weird bad guys, the weird heels. I used to like the Blue Blood Hunter Hearst Helmsley character. I used to like the Ringmaster character, and then those are my favorite guys. I used to like Gangrel and things like that, and then see what they become. It's like, whoa.
So what stood out the most from you? What stood out the most in through your experience there? What do you think stood out the most to you? That you went home and you was like, that was cool, you know?
Uh, what really stands out to this day is like, did I really do all that? It's like I'm just a diehard fan, like you are, like
The whole
everybody else's
experience.
are. It's like, oh, I never imagined myself to be in that spot, or to be do anything with the WWE. I thought maybe I would just do some indie spots here and there, and that would be it, or just that one time deal with WWE. It's still hard to take in that I've been doing all that stuff with WWE for 7, 8 years, and it's been great. It's been
So it's been that long? Wow. I didn't realize it
yeah,
was that long.
yeah.
Wow.
It's a wild ride, and like I said, I thought maybe it was just going to be that one DVD and I'm done. Which really, that's all they needed. It's just me doing that one DVD. Hey, we filmed it. This was this. This was that. This is the click, and that's it. They could have ended it at that, but they continued it, and I was happy with that. So I'll take it.
Anything else you want to share, like of your experience? Anything? Any questions for me? About anything?
Um, the one thing is
I mean,
like
this
I'm
is a
glad you reached out to
conversation,
me.
so
I'm glad you reached out to me. It's like you have to realize like I haven't done these interviews. Well, if it wasn't for WWE, I wouldn't be able to do all these interviews. I've done 20 podcasts outside of WWE. I've done Tommy Dreamer's Sirius XM with Busted Open. It gave me those opportunities. It gave me the opportunity with you, and you're the first one that I actually got back to do another interview because you have to realize I haven't done this in almost 2 years. I really haven't had any interest to do it, but I said, you know what? He was there. He was there that night, and I have to share my story with him because I want to hear his story from that night as well. So that's why I decided to do this one because otherwise, after
yeah.
doing so many podcasts and repeating the same questions and answers, you get bored of it, honestly. But
Now
yours
this
was a
is
little
this is
different, which is
definitely gonna be
nice.
different. This is
Yeah, it
definitely
was
going. I knew it
different
was gonna be different. I knew that.
because you didn't. It wasn't just the basic curtain call issues. I mean, questions. It was actually wrestling questions, which I've never been asked before. It was just always about that night, the same question. So that's why I decided to do it, and I'm actually happy I did. I had a lot of fun.
Well, actually, I had no choice because if I would have did the curtain call questions only, it would have been a very short interview. And I wanted to have you for at least an hour. Talk wrestling, talk shit. I like talking shit, talking wrestling shit with people that are wrestling fans. That are not assholes and they cool. Like I could relate to wrestling fans that are like that. That are cool. That are not. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. Not those fucking harassers that are on the internet, like people that just want to have a decent conversation about wrestling.
And the good thing is, I see you have the knowledge from the '80s and the '90s, and which I can relate to. It's like I can't really relate to other people that just started watching in the Attitude Era or later, or even nowadays. There's no way I can have a conversation with someone who started watching wrestling in the last 10 years. We can only talk about Roman Reigns and the Sequoias so much. I
Yeah,
don't know what to talk. I don't know what to say.
yeah, it's true. It's true, man. I like I like I said, I like talking to fans that got sense, that have some sense, and we could carry on a conversation and have a decent conversation, and even if we agree, if we disagree, we could agree to disagree. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
So, everybody has their own opinion. Like I like talking to fans that are cool, that I could relate to in that sense. Yeah, so that's another reason why I wanted
absolutely.
to do this interview too. Yeah, that's definitely another reason why I wanted to do this interview. So yeah, man, I think that's about it, man. Let me see, let me check. I think I got one more question. Uh all right, you already answered it. Last one was what made you agree to this. I guess you basically answered it. That's cool, man. I appreciate it, bro. Because like I told you, man, I've been telling this story, and I get chills talking about this story, and the fans, and then knowing that you was there, and I was jealous because you had the camera, and we have that in common that we was there, and it was just so much that I thought this is gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? So I want to thank you, bro, again, because you didn't have to do this. You actually accepted my friend request. You read my message. You wasn't even on my friends list when you read the message, and then you read the message. Then you accepted my friends request. Like you didn't have to do none of that, bro. You could have ignored me, and it would have been like, damn, he didn't never got back to me. Fuck, I would have loved to have that interview. You know what I'm saying? But it was none of that. You reached out right away the same day, bro. And that was fucking amazing of
Absolutely.
you, bro. You the man, bro.
Absolutely.
Thank you, bro. I
I
want to
know
thank you again,
I
bro.
know I know a fellow good wrestling fan or someone in the business like you. And let me ask you something. Do you have your ticket stuff from that night? Because I sure don't. I lost mine.
Hell, bro, I don't have. You know, it's funny. I remember I told you I had the pictures. I just went through all my pictures, and I can't find none of the pictures that day. I got some Warrior pictures, but I don't know if it's fucking Owen. Hold up, give me a second. So this was me and Howard Finkel. I don't know if it's from that day or the show before. I'm not sure, but he was outside, and I was right around the corner where they go inside in the cars.
Mhm.
I was in
Oh, right when they drive
around the
down.
corner
Yeah.
from when
Okay.
you walk in. Yeah, that ramp. That's right next to that ramp. So you see
Okay,
me,
I
I'm
got you.
shaking hands with Howard Finkel right there. My brother caught that. That was
Oh, I
that
see.
was lucky that he caught that because he was coming out and I just went right up to him and shook his hand. He shook my hand. My brother caught the picture. You know what I'm saying? But that was around that time. You know, I don't remember what event it was. Here goes Warrior. It must have been that day because you said that was his first day back in the garden, right?
First day back at the Garden was that show versus Owen. Yeah, that was his
Yeah, so
return.
this is
So
it. This is
people
the
were hyped
day.
of
This
that.
was this day. Don't. But what I can't find the pictures of them, of the click in them. You know, I see some pictures of Warrior. I got some Warrior pictures. Uh, Look at Yoko. This was outside in the car. That's Yoko. Back at that
Okay.
time,
Yeah.
he was in the car.
Yep.
See Yoko? Yeah, he was in the car.
Yep. I see.
And I caught him. I jumped in front of the car. I was like, bonsai. And I turned around. No, my brother did it too. He caught the picture of him. He's like, yo, I got Yoko.
That's
When I developed the
and that's
picture,
crazy. You did that because that guy's
I
a
had
real
that.
gangster. You don't want to mess with someone like that. That's a real Samoan
But
gangster.
he had one of the he had Owen with him and a midget was with him. I think the midget was driving, if I'm correct. And I just
Tiger
jumped in front of the
Jackson
car.
or
I was like,
horse.
bonsai. Huh? So this is Sean. I don't know. I think that's Undertaker. It looks like him. I don't know who's that next to him. Looks like Taker. So those pictures of the click and all that shit, I couldn't. I must have lost them, bro. It's been so long ago. I thought I had them, bro. Got a picture here of Skip, Body Donna, and Sonny. See, that's him
Oh yeah.
with the belt.
Candido. Yeah.
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 Was that day? Cause look at her
That was
outfit.
that
Was
day.
that the outfit she had on?
I don't. I don't recall that, but if he's carrying the belt as an entrance, that was the day he came in with the tag belts, and that's the day he lost it. If that was that day, because he you remember he had it for a very brief time with Tom Pritchard, uh, Zip, and they only had it
Yeah,
for
I
a
remember.
short stint.
But if you got the video, you can see if Sonny has that same outfit on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we'll know if it was that day. You know, I'm not too sure. Like I said, my memory's a little vague. Did is this Papa Shango against Yoko? Right? No, is it? No, that's Vader and
What
Yoko. They wrestled that
Vader,
day.
Vader and Yoko. Yes,
They
absolutely. That
wrestled
was
that
that
day.
day.
That's it right
They
there. Then this is that day. This is it.
absolutely.
See,
You're right.
I got pictures, but I don't got pictures. I had Sean on top of the cage too, but I can't find
Sure.
those fucking pictures, bro.
I'm
I
sure
went
you'll
through all
find
my
it somewhere,
pictures.
but that's definitely that night because Vader did fight Yoko.
That's the
Yeah,
Warrior. That's Warrior again. See, that's Warrior again.
Jake,
Look,
Jake versus
that's Warrior again.
Ringmaster, Warrior versus Owen. Yep, Hunter
Yeah.
Scott. Yep.
Did um I remember wasn't Aldo Montoya wrestling Bradshaw that day or something? I think
No,
it was either
no.
that day so it was the event before that because I told you I went to two back to back.
Yeah.
So it
Okay.
was probably the one before that. Yeah, man. All right, so this is done. I'm gonna stop this. I already
Sure.
thanked you and all that. You already know. I'm gonna check
You
the
as well.
video. I'm hoping they got it. I'm hoping I got the video. Your voice in the other video, man, because I recorded it, so I hope it's there, man. If not, I'm gonna be stressed the fuck out. If anything, I get back to you. Yo, call me anytime. You got my number. You know, I'll holler at you. I'll holler back at you.
It's been a
We talk
pleasure.
another time.
It's been fun. It's been fun. Thank you, Nestor. It's been fun. Trust me.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Anytime. Good night.